So this lesson is all about equations of lines and how to write them and how to do them from tables and graphs and on and on and on. And the good news is that your calculator will do most of it. So this is a graph. We want to see which line, which equation matches. So you're going to go to y equals, type in the first graph. Hit graph, here we go. And we got lucky. It was the very first answer. Let me show you what the other ones look like just so you can see. B has a negative 1/2 x. So if we graph that, it goes down. So that's not right. If we graph 2x, it would be too steep. And if we graph negative 2x again, it would go down. So the right answer for this one would be 1/2 x. All right, this one you don't know how to do yet, but your calculator will do it. So let me show you. Again, we're going to go to y equals and we're going to type this equation in. So basically, if you're taking your UOC and you see an equation with only one letter, you should think, oh, let me go to y equals and type it in, and maybe I can figure out how to do it. Okay, now this is not a graph, so pitting graph is not going to help us. But if you look right above graph, there's a word table, which is exactly what we want. So I'm going to hit second graph, and that gives me this table. Now, you may think, oh no, look, it doesn't have -5. My table just starts at 0. Well, we can scroll up and down to get wherever we want on our table. So I'm going to go up to -5. At -5, the answer is -8. So A is out. A is wrong. It doesn't have -5, -8. That does, that does, that does, that does. Okay, let's look at -2. At -2, the answer is 4. Well, I already got A's out. B could still be right. C is wrong. It's got to be -2, +4. D could be it. And, oh, let's look. Let's look at E. It's a little bit. E says -3 is at 2. Well, that's not right. All right, so I'm either down to B or D. Let's look at 0. 0 is at 2. Well, both of them have 0 too. So let's go down to 2. 2 is at -8. So that means B is my right answer. Again, okay, so this one's a little bit different. This time I'm going to give you lots of equations, and we're going to see which one matches this table. So let's type them in. -3x minus 10. Again, the buttons we press are second graph. That gets us our table. So I'm comparing these. So I got -3, -1, that's right. -2, -4, that's right. -1, -7, that's right. I think we have our answer. Let's check them all. 0, -10, that's right. 1, -13, that's right. 2, -16, that's right. I got lucky on my first try. Let me type in the other one just so that you'll see one that would be wrong. So if I did -10x plus 10 and did second graph, and that, so see straight off the bat, -3 is 40, not -1. So that one's not right. Okay, but we got lucky and got it right the first time. Okay, let's do this one. Ooh, look at this. What if they use different letters? Who cares? It doesn't matter. This would be your y, and this would be your x. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go to y equals. We're going to type it in. 6x plus 5. We're going to hit second graph. All right, looks like all my tables start at -2. So -2, -7. That's wrong. -2, -7, that's right. -2, -7, that's wrong. -2, -7, that's wrong. So it's either C or D. Let's see what -1, -1, that's right. That's right. 0, 5, that's right. That's right. Let's look at the 1. 1, 11. So this is the one that matches. So just because it has different letters, don't freak out. Just make them Y and X. Okay, so let's go through this. Write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form with a given slope that goes through the point. Okay, so a few reminders that I want to give you. M is slope. That's your first thing. M is slope. M, slope, is the number with the x. It's the number with x. So that's my slope, that's my slope, that's my slope, that's my slope. So the slope has to be -2, which means A is automatically out. Now, to figure out which one goes through that point, I'm going to pull up my awesome calculator. I'm not doing any math. I'm going to type in -2x plus 11. That's B. Type it in B. I'm hitting second graph. And I want to see if it goes through the point 3, 5. Well, looky right here. It sure does. That's my answer. 3, 5. Let me show you one that's wrong. We got lucky on all these. They're all the first answers I'm using. If I did negative 2x plus 1 over 11, if I typed in C and hit second graph, if I go down to 3, I got negative 5.909, so that is wrong. Okay. All right, let's do this one. Find the equation of a line that has both of those points. Well, let's just start typing them in. A says negative 7/5 x minus 14/5. And let's second graph. And we're going to see if it goes through both of these points. So let's look at negative 2, 0. It does. It hits at negative 2, 0. Let's look at negative 7, 7. So I need to scroll up to get to negative 7. Oh my goodness. Again, the first answer was right. So the one that goes through both points is A. Now, just to ram this in your head, because you have to know this, you need to check both of them. Don't just check for one of them and assume you're right. You need to make sure it goes through both of them. All right, write the equation of a line with the m. Remember, m is slope of 0, and it goes through this point. So what's m is, remember, with the x. M is with the x. So is 0 with x? No. Is 0 with x? Well, yes, and then this one's no. So if I had this, 0x, and then it's going to go through a positive 5. 0 times anything is just 0. So this would be the right answer. And let me show you if we typed it in. If I go to y equals and just type in y equals 5 and hit second graph and then go to 0, it does go through the point 0, 5. If we typed in y equals 0 and did second graph, you would see that that's not right. It doesn't go through at 0, 5. So this is a good way, using your calculator, that you can figure out equations of lines without doing like that point slope form and everything that I taught you earlier in the year. All right, let's talk about intercepts. First thing I would say is, whoa, okay, this is a y equals. So I'm going to type it in my calculator. Y equals negative 14x minus 7. I'm going to hit graph. You could hit second graph. Okay, so let's talk about that. Well, how do I know whether I want to hit graph or whether I want to look at the table? Try both. I mean, it's an untimed test. You can take as much time as you want. So this wants my intercepts. So my x-intercept is here. On my x-axis, this is the x-axis, and my y-axis is down here. Now, it is kind of hard to see on this graph. So for this one, I would go to the table. I would hit second graph. And let's find one. So here's an intercept. Intercepts have zeros, okay? So 0, negative 7. That's going to be your y-intercept. Let's talk about this. Y-intercepts, the first number is always 0. X-intercepts, the second number is always 0. Okay? So you're going to need to know that. So I would probably write that down in your notes. So this is my y-intercept at 0, negative 7. Well, that could be it, that could be it, that could be it, that could be not it. Yes, it could be, and this one is not it. So that rules out D. Okay, so let's, and if we scroll through our table, it's never going to tell us where the x is 0. So let's go back to our graph. It's right here. A says it's at negative 2. Well, it's definitely not negative 2 because negative 2 is right here and it doesn't touch. C says 1/2. Well, 1/2 would be over here. It definitely does not touch at 1/2. 2 says it would be over here. Does not touch at 2. B says negative 1/2, which is correct. So I would pick B for this one. Okay, let's look at the table. What's the x-intercept? Well, remember the x-intercept is where the second number is 0. So my x-intercept would be at 2, 0, right here. Y-intercept is where the first number is 0. That's right here. So my y-intercept would be at 0, negative 4. Which equation has an x-intercept of 2 and a y-intercept of negative 4? Well, here's what I would do. The x-intercept would be at 0, 2. The y-intercept would be at negative 4, 0. I'm going to use my calculator. I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to type in A, 2x plus 4. And hit second graph. Let's see if those points are there. 0, 4. No, I wanted 0, 2. So that's not right. So let's try the next one. Negative 2x plus 4. And let's do second graph. I want 0, 2. Nope, again, I got 0, 4. That's not right. Let's try the next one. The next one is 2x minus 4. Let's look. I got 0, negative 4. No, that's not right either. Okay, let's try the next one. A negative 2x minus 4. And I got 0. None of these are right. Oh, I wrote them backwards. Ah! Your x-intercept should be at 2, 0. And your y-intercept should be at 0, negative 4. Oh, goodness. Now I got to do it all over again. Let's see if this is right. 0, negative 4. And this is at negative 2, 0, but I wanted positive 2, 0. So let's talk about what probably would have been a smarter idea for Ms. Hebrink on this problem. Hitting graph and looking at my axis. X-intercept on this one was at negative 2. My y-intercept was right. It was at negative 4. So I'm just going to start back at A again. So let's try 2x plus 4. I'm going to do both. I'm going to show you both. So my y-intercept is at positive 4. Well, that's not right. I want it at negative 4. And you can look at the graph and see it's at positive 4. My x is good. My x is at negative 2, but my y is not. So let's try the next one. Negative 2x plus 4. No, neither one are right. They're both positive. This is positive 4 and that's positive 2. So, yeah. And then the next, let's see here, 2x minus 4. I think we got a winner here, guys. Graph. It is at negative 4 and my x-intercept is at positive 2. And let's go look at what it looks like on my table just to show you. 0, negative 4, check. 2, 0, check. So C would be the answer here. I hope I did not royally confuse you on that one. What's the slope of the graph? Well, we already covered this in this lesson. Remember, slope, M, is with the x. So what's with the x? 8/5. 8/5. So you would pick C. C is your slope. This number at the end, if you remember, anybody remember what that's called? It's called your y-intercept. So if it asks for the y-intercept, you'd put negative 3. But the slope is 8/5. And last, you have a question like this. What's the slope? Well, we don't know. We got to get y by itself. Do you see? Do you see how much we have to get y by itself for everything? That's why we've been practicing it so much. So my first step was to move that 3x over. So I did minus 3x. Then I want to divide everything by 4. So y equals negative 3/4 x plus 25/4. So what's the slope? Remember, slope is with x. What's with the x? The negative 3/4. That's your slope. So if you will go, please try this worksheet and let me know if you need help.